to block party number 91. It's now 8:46 in the evening. We've been at it for almost 14 hours. And great to see you, Shankar. Shankar was one of the early pioneers of the block party, going back to block party number 1, number 2. Boom, boom, boom. There was Shankar.
Thank you, Jamin. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, and look how far we've come. So I want to build off what James was saying in that video recording, the 6.5-minute one. And it really boils down to, I see 3 phases of this. Number 1 is getting people to follow the logic train from the urgency and how fast we're exponentially overheating and melting the ice and killing life on Earth. And that we're months away from an ice-free Arctic, but we must do everything we can to prevent. And marine cloud brightening is the best way to prevent it. It's as simple as that. And, reverse the exponential overheating and get towards cooling. So just what I said just there, have the conversations, do the analysis, look at the data to get people down that path, which is the only path to go at this point that makes any sense and that has any objective and ethical values behind it, period. There's no other way we're going to cool the planet in time other than marine cloud brightening that we can roll out at planetary scale. Nothing else will compare or substitute. So that's part 1. Part 2 is to say, okay, let's say we all agree on that. Okay, great. What is our plan for getting it implemented at planetary scale? What's our plan for getting the engineering funded and completed, the first prototype built, but all in a super accelerated way? We need a lot of humanity to come together and get behind this. This can't just be a few crackpots, living in some trailer up in the mountains of Idaho, thinking this is a good idea and writing notes on paper. Okay, we need to come together and do this. Okay. How are we going to fund it? How are we going to grow the number of supporters exponentially to make it happen, to apply our collective intelligence? So anyway, that's all phase 2, coming up with a detailed plan for how do we get there from here. And then phase 3 is implementation, right? And our approach is, as James suggested, now imagine what James said in 6.5 minutes. Imagine having 10 times that amount of time, having 60 minutes, and having a whole video that goes into the details. This is how much we're overheating as a planet. This is how much time we have left before an ice-free Arctic. This is this is that, and this is the solution. So at the end of that 1-hour video, you will be part of the family if you've paid attention. Now, that doesn't say don't ask questions. It doesn't mean don't challenge it. To the contrary, challenge away. Ask whatever questions you have. Come up with whatever alternative hypotheses you have. But let's have the conversations so that together, collectively, we can sort out the truth, right? So after that 1-hour video, the next request is that you join the conversation, which means join the network of conversations. And we've been talking a lot about the network of conversations, the universe of conversations, and getting these conversations hyper-connected through, for example, a Chrysalis calendar, a universal calendar, database, all the cool stuff that Vincent is working on Trove up there on Long Island, right? So that's it. That's the plan in a nutshell. Any questions or comments or anything anyone would like to add? Yeah.
There was something mentioned about, I think it was mentioned by James in the video, I guess, regarding the like reflection in the ocean or something.
Yeah. Well,
Water.
there's marine cloud brightening. Marco, is it
Very-
easy for you to change your background and show an image of it? Okay. So there's a remarkable combination of technologies. Okay. These are several different technologies combined so that we have wind powered vessels, completely wind powered, right? That sail on hydrofoil. So they have very minimal drag, and it can really, turn all that wind energy just basically purely into driving the pumps, which spray ocean water through basically very sophisticated, glorified shower heads, okay, that just spray a bunch of water. But I say glorified and sophisticated because they make very fine droplets. Those sprays, they make it look like it's going into the ocean, right, and getting absorbed. No, it's bouncing off. You have to think of it as a fluid. And it's like that big fat fire hose of that, it just bounces off. And a tiny minuscule amount gets absorbed by the water, but it doesn't matter. We're pumping so much of it there, creating all these clouds. Hey, let's say hello to Deirdre.
Living in Hawaii.
Living where, Deirdre?
And when I lived in Hawaii, I met Robert Lynn Nelson. I used to get invitations. He had a house party every year. So he would send invitations to people that you had to have an original Robert Lynn Nelson. So he drew what they call him is a remark. So he actually drew another whale on my picture. So I would get an invitation to his house party, and Ronald Reagan, Willie Nelson, Carol Burnett, Jim Neighbor, all those people like that would be there. You had to have an original Robert Lynn Nelson to get an invitation.
That's cool.
Yeah. So we were recapping the basic, outline. Door number 1, food. Door number 2, planetary cooling through marine cloud brightening. And then door number 3, the spiritual side, right? And we've got Dharmendra back. I don't know if y'all saw the email from last night, but Dharmendra is back every Friday afternoon from 2:30 to 4:30. Dharmendra leads, and we had an amazing session today. So I'm just calling that the spiritual side, just to be big and broad, right? Regardless of what your faith or anything. So, food, which spans both the spiritual and the physical. Marine cloud brightening, which is very physical. We're cooling the planet, right? And then the spiritual. So you have purely physical, purely spiritual, and then both. Food, which is a bridge between the two. Because going plant-based and sacrificing, meat and dairy products is a spiritual act. Is it not? Right? Well, let's just say that it is for most people. Maybe for others, they say, no, it's not. Well, okay, whatever, right? Bottom line, we have door number 1, food, door number 2, cooling, door number 3, spiritual, boom, 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 but they all lead to the same auditorium, which is collective intelligence and full enlightenment as to exactly what we need to do. Food healers, cool the planet, and spiritual transformation. And supporting all of those is collective intelligence. providing sort of an Uber medium for all this to happen within. And with that, I pass the talking feather. Thank you. Marco says, so you have vulnerable species.
That was to Deirdre.
Oh,
That's the one you have? The one with the elephant?
The extinction is forever? Is that what you're
Um,
talking about?
Oh, the only one I saw was,
It has whales. It's a picture of the whales.
oh, is it?
And it's
whale?
in the harbor on by Kihei in on Maui.
Oh, I can't find that one.
The funny part was I paid $500 for it. It's worth about $5,000 now.
That's always good.
anyway, any other comments on the overall strategy for saving life on Earth? Or let's just say our contribution to the overall strategy, right? Getting the collective intelligence to grow exponentially with particular emphasis on these mega solutions of food and cooling.
Well, I don't really have anything new to offer, just rehashing my feelings and my belief that all along, that as long as you have people that are hungry and malnutrition, they're going to be less than productive, not only to society, but even for their own benefit. If you can feed people nutritious food and they have full bellies, they think clearer and they're more able to participate not only in society, but their own care. Once you have a full belly and you have nutritious food, your mind works better and you can focus on helping others. And I think that's where food healers and feeding everybody fully nutritious plant-based foods makes sense to be a first step.
Did you check your messenger, Marco?
Yep, I'm looking at it right now. Oh, that one's awesome.
Yeah, what you said, Marco, it's very well established that malnutrition among children causes a lifetime of harm, right? And it's just horrific that we as a species are letting that happen at significant scale among our sisters and brothers, while we murder animals to have barbecues and are killing the entire planet in the process. So the two solutions of food and cooling are urgent beyond any words that we can say. And yet here we are, humanity, like a deer in the headlights, who's going, duh, right? So we need to find a way to get this to grow exponentially, where there's, 100,000 people in the conversation pushing it forward and providing collective sense making and collective co-creation of a new story for humanity that can go spread exponentially, go spread virally throughout the entire world. That's the only game in town at this point. If somebody knows a better thing to focus on right now, please tell me. So the next steps are to get these 10 experts together and co-create that video. And I think what we need to do is have a series of meetings, and also at some point a press conference, record a press conference. But first, I think, here's what I think the order of things is. We record the materials for the 30-second video that goes viral, right? Focusing on marine cloud brightening. That's door number 2. We're also, expanding food healers in Los Angeles with Go Dharmic, with Molly Baszler. That's going to go exponential. I'm convinced of that. That's door number 1. And both door number 1 and door number 2 can point to the same 60-minute video where we say, look, there's 2 mega solutions we need to implement. We need to do it now. Here's what they are. And here's every facet of it that you might need to know. Right? 60 minutes. And then after that 60-minute video, there's one call to action: join the conversation, period. Join the conversation. What do we talk about? Well, fundamentally, 3 things. One is the story and getting the story out. The story that includes these 2 mega solutions and the urgency of these. The next is coming up with the plan. We need collective intelligence to come up with a complete plan to get this fully implemented at planetary scale in time. And then the third set of conversations is around implementation of that plan. 1, 2, 3. And all those conversations need to happen simultaneously. Even if we don't have a perfect plan right now, we're still executing, implementing. Right? Building the 30-second video, that's implementation. Building the 60-minute video, that's implementation. Getting all these 10 experts together, that's implementation. All right? So certain steps are obvious and urgent, so we're just taking those right now. But a lot of those steps lead towards an exponential growth in our community, which we need to answer all the questions that we have and come up with the entire complete plan and have an army of volunteers for implementation on both the food front and the marine cloud brightening front. On the food front, most of the volunteers are for preparing and serving food. On the marine cloud brightening front, most of the volunteers are here for meetings and co-creation of solutions, mostly through Zoom and Reddit and GitHub and other platforms, Twitter, etc. Right? But I think the bulk of the work gets done in meetings like this one on Zoom. right? That's where we really share what we know and really get to hash out what do we need to do. Passing the talking feather.
Yeah, we're definitely at a point where we can't just assume that somebody else is going to solve the situation we're in right now. We absolutely all have to decide that, yeah, this is my job too. Because we are so close, we're well into the sixth mass extinction of life on this planet. And the only thing that's going to prevent the total extinction of all life present now is quick, diligent actions to stop and reverse the overheating of the planet, and then implementing all possible ways to achieve sustainable living goals, and hopefully we may develop some technology to do, to remove carbon from the atmosphere. The technology in any scale does not exist now, but the technology to stop and reverse the overheating is available. It's here in the form of these ships that right now only exist in the design phase and in this computer generation. But for the bargain basement price of around $10 billion, we can build enough of these ships to stop the overheating, reverse it, and buy the time for us to educate each other and do all the things we should have done, 50 or 60 years ago. Plant more trees, change our diet away from eating animals into a plant-based, healthy, nutritious eating diet. And it's really technically very simple. We just have to want to do it, and we have to believe the science and not the bullshit. The science says we are going to become extinct. The idea that we have decades is ludicrous. If we make it 10 years without changing something radically right now, without stopping the overheating and reversing it within the next few months, the next 10 years will be nothing but misery and devastation throughout the entire planet on a scale I don't think most people can even imagine the horror that they'll go through. And that's no exaggeration. It's just a lot of smoke and mirrors and bullshit to calm the masses, so we don't have people realizing how desperate the situation is. And that's only because the officials, the people in charge, our government level people, are too busy spending their kickback money and their lobbying money to look at the proof and the science that says we're in as much trouble as we're in right now. for the first time this summer, summer of 2022, if not this summer, then by the summer of 2023, we will have temperatures and a climate that will eliminate all Arctic sea ice, which all by itself, without the sea ice, of course, there'll be warmer ocean just because the ice is gone. But then the fact that there's no ice to reflect sunlight back from that area that's normally covered with ice will cause a massive warming of the ocean, releasing, you know, massive amounts of methane, all things that mainstream politicians are not even looking at, because they don't want to see it, because they're too busy spending fossil fuel lobbying money to look at the truth in the science. But the good news is, for around $10 billion, we can put these, build enough of these ships and put them into service that we can create bright marine clouds over the ocean, bright clouds that will reflect sunlight back and buy us the time to learn and develop sustainable skills to let, you know, humanity exist beyond probably like I said, if we don't do something now in the next few months, the next 10 years will be nothing but misery. And that's not an exaggeration. And if you're willing to look at the actual science, it's easy to see. And I pray and I work to get the news out that, you know, this is how bad the situation is. But the good news is we have the technology to do these ships right now. This isn't pie in the sky. This isn't some, you know, fantastic carbon vacuuming system that doesn't exist. This is viable technology, and we have it now, and all we have to do is implement it. And with that, I pass the talking feather.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to add to that, Marco, is just to go into a little more detail about what I see as the fundamental mechanisms going on in terms of overheating and cooling. We're overheating because the greenhouse gases are causing that more sunlight comes in, more energy through sunlight comes in than leaves. So we have net overheating. So there's just this constant accumulation of more and more heat. Where does that heat go? Primarily to two places. One, heat the oceans, and two, now that warmer ocean water erodes the Arctic sea ice and Antarctica, and and then the third place that it goes is on land, you know, heating up land and lakes and rivers and things like that. But land can't really absorb as much heat as the oceans and the ice. And then I've talked about the martini effect, the Guy McPherson martini effect, where you're holding a martini in your hand that has an ice cube in it. Heat is flowing through your arm, through your fingers, to the glass, melting the ice. The temperature of the martini is a constant 0 degrees centigrade, constant 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, until the last of the ice melts, and then it spikes. We still have ice in the martini glass. That ice is predicted to be all gone later this summer, or at the latest 2023. And then the temperature will really spike. We ain't seen nothing yet, is what we're saying. Ladies and gentlemen, the only game in town right now is forwarding this conversation so that we have 100,000 people in the conversation working together to figure out how do we get that technology, marine cloud brightening, implemented at planetary scale in the next several months. How do we do it? That should be on every human being's mind right now, but I'll take 100,000 over nothing. The choice is between a few hundred of us who know about this, right? No, a few thousand, call it. But of those few thousand, how many are actually in a conversation every week saying, how do we push this forward? How do we push this forward? Probably a few hundred at the most. It's a minuscule amount of human beings, right? The tiniest rural town in India or Mexico has a few hundred people versus the population of the whole planet that's just saying, go, 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 make more money, and are completely blind to what's going on. They're blind to the Martini effect. They're blind to how close we are. We've lost 80% of our Arctic ice. There's only 20% left. Oh, Sister Ingrid is here. Let me pause. All right. She's connected. Sister Ivy, good evening. Hey, Sister Ivy, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Fine, yes. I just got your email and read the whole thing and just say I have to at least pass by and say hello.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Thank you for all the good work.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, it's very exciting. I'll be coming to Los Angeles probably in February, it looks like at this point.
Oh, that's wonderful news. That's great.
Yeah. And I'd love to help out with what you're doing. And we also have Go Dharmic coming to Los Angeles. So just this whole movement. We are recording right now. I hope you're okay with that. We're just kind of recapping recapping the whole thing, because we need to get this implemented all throughout Los Angeles. Food Healers and Molly Baszler is on board, running for Los Angeles City Council. And so that's the Food Healers thing. And then we have the Marine Cloud Brightening. In that, like in the image behind Marco there.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Yes. Hello to whoever is on now. It's been a while and I have missed you all. It was always so wonderful to just have met you and have been with you. Every time was absolutely wonderful. So I'm going to try to get back on track.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, welcome.
Yes. Yeah.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Very nice to hear your voice again.
Hello, Brother Marco. That's wonderful to hear you and see you.
Thank you.
So what are you guys up to now?
Yeah, so we're mapping out two major efforts to push these two major solutions of, let's just say, Food Healers and Marine Cloud Brightening. And the key to getting both of these implemented is building this community and this network of communities and the network of conversations through which we can coordinate and co-create the plans and actions that we need to take to get all this done.
Yes, yes, it sounds like a good mapping. I read the whole thing.
Thank you.
Yes. I'm so glad that Molly is, is running full blast and doing this beautiful program. That's wonderful.
Yeah, and she finally came around to I say finally, very quickly actually, came around to the reality that we need to make this the centerpiece of her campaign. Turning Los Angeles into the world's first compassionate metropolis.
Beautiful.
Completely hunger-free, malnutrition-free, and
Cruelty.
cruelty-free. Yeah. Bam, bam, bam. Because once we do it, can you imagine what will happen to crime? What will happen to violence? What will happen to rates of depression, rates of suicide, healthcare issues of all kinds, mental, physical, emotional, right? We're going to see the biggest improvements across the board for Los Angeles, and then every other city in the world will want this. And it's so easy to implement. Shankar works in food distribution, or a lot of his work has been in food distribution, right? So,
Yes.
I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's simple, right? It just takes resource, people and food. Yeah, people and food. So,
And also, the thing about food is that while we are giving food out, it's a great opportunity to talk with people, to comfort people, to, that's one of the best things to me about the food is that opportunity to open dialogue with people and to let them know they are loved and provided. It just makes such a big difference. That's definitely the biggest thing I've seen when we bring the food. So I'm glad Molly is in, and I'm going to see how I can get back to, the schedule and the discipline, but definitely it's great to know that this month there's going to be the big event. It's said on the 20th, right? 20th.
we're changing it to February for the press conference. They're going to do a feeding at that park in Westwood, Veterans Boulevard, Veterans Sepulveda, and I forget what the other is.
Okay.
There will be an event for feeding people on the 22nd. But then for the big press conference and the big launch where we invite all the media and everything, that'll be in February.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's good. That's good. Whatever works. That's good. And Brother Marco, how's everything with you? Is he still on?
Pretty good in general. There's minor issues here and there, but with all the support and family I have here, it's things are very hopeful. Very, I see a future yet for my daughter and grandkids. It's going to be hard getting there. It's going to be close, but I think we're going to make it. And I can't imagine what would be a more valuable way to spend my time than being here and working on, making the world hunger free. And you got to start somewhere, and Los Angeles seems to be the right place right now. We've got kind of the perfect storm coming together with Go Dharmic and Food Healers and Molly Baszler, and just everything's coming together in a kind of if you had a fantasy wish for how things could go, I think that's kind of like what's happening right now. So
That's wonderful. Yeah, thank you for all the good work you do. You're definitely such a big supporter. Thank you so much.
it feels, I feel privileged to be here, honestly.
Yeah. I keep on, having in thought that great quote, if not us, then who?
Yeah.
And if not now, then when? I got inspired by all the thing. If not here, then where? So it's all calling us to do what we need to do. You reminded me of that. Thank you.
Yep. Those are good words to live by.
That's wonderful. I see that James and Christopher, are they really in, or are they just the computer?
James may be asleep by now. Christopher, are you with us?
I'm here all right, but I am half asleep. I apologize, but I did hear your voice, sister, and I did notice that Deirdre was here as well, and I wanted to say Happy New Year to both of you anyway, and lovely to see you again.
Thank you. It's great to hear you. I'm glad that I got to hear you too, and you're such a great supporter too. Thank you so much to all of you. And you're so holding the tent all the time. Thank you so much.
Another one of my, what has become one of my favorite sayings, quotes, is from Margaret Mead. It says, "Never underestimate the power of a small group of committed people to change the world."
Yeah.
In fact, it is the only thing that ever has.
That's right. I know good or beautiful organizations, and they started with 3 or 4 people, but today they have hundreds and hundreds of members and helpers and everything. That is very true. Very true. Thank you for bringing that.
Every great organization is birthed between 2 friends talking at a cafe and writing some ideas on the back of an envelope. Everything starts that way.
Yeah. Sometimes of a napkin, an envelope, a napkin, anything.
On the back of Marco's t-shirt, on the back of Christopher's underwear.
Stone tablet.
That's right. Stone tablet chiseling away. Sure.
Yeah, I'm so glad we moved up to paper and pen and pencil. Those stone tablets were, it was killing me lugging those around all the time.
That's good. I see that poster behind you, Brother Marcos. Is that a special place, or it's just a drawing, or?
That's a computer generated picture of the ships that were designed by Professor Stephen Salter of Edinburgh. And those ships, those tall towers in the middle, are actually more efficient than cloth sails. They're like a mechanical sail that catches the wind, and they rotate and they turn that power into mechanical energy that can move the ships forward. And then they have hydrofoils on the four corners that also, due to being able to ocean waves and being able to adjust the pitch, they create power. So those ships are powered by both totally powered by the hydrofoils and the Flettner rotors. And then they suck up and filter seawater, spray it back out in kind of a fancy, let's call it a shower head. And it makes the right size particle when the evaporation occurs, that it makes small salt particles that float up into the layer where clouds form. And because it's a small particle, it makes very bright reflective clouds that will reflect sunlight back into space before it can warm the ocean. And these are with 1,000 of these ships, for the cost of about $10 billion, we can not only stop the overheating of the Earth, we can reverse it and cool the planet long enough that we can reshape society into a sustainable society that will live on for millennia rather than become extinct in the next few years.
When did he design this?
He's been working on them for the last few years. It started with Professor John Latham quite a few years ago, and you know, they developed, they recognized the ability and what particle size it takes to make bright clouds. And Professor Salter just built on their work. He's done all the design for these ships. He's a brilliant engineer, and we, you know, he's showing us all the technical designs for these ships, and it's just a brilliant design.
Wow. And it looks like real. I didn't know it was computer animated. At least from here, it looks like the real thing.
Yeah. It's I forget what's the gentleman's name, the professor that did the computer generation. You remember, Jamin?
Well, there's
Alan something, wasn't it?
oh yeah, Alan. It's like Gaudian, Alan Gaudian, but he doesn't do the. I didn't know that he did these graphics. Maybe he did.
I thought he did
No, he does the computer modeling.
modeling. Okay, I guess I confused that with this.
Okay. Yeah, this is probably done by an artist. You know, I'm sure using drawing software, computer software. But anyway, yeah, the bottom line is we can actually cool our planet, and we need to do it with tremendous urgency, because every day that passes, we're overheating more and more and more and more and more and more and more every day.
And has that ever been taken to any of the government?
It has. In fact, it was presented at COP, the big climate conference in Glasgow, Scotland. And I was there, James was there, Alan was there, Jamie was there. Dr. Silas Rao was there.
Hmm.
Lots of vegan groups were there. And this was presented, but it barely got any attention. And
Hmm.
COP was regarded as a big failure. Now,
Hmm.
the media did say there was one runaway success at COP26, and that was us, because I was with my Darth Vader costume and singing Spanish love songs, like you know I love to sing, and English love songs also. And so we got huge attention and media coverage, and we were promoting Marine Cloud Brighton.
Yes. 94% of people believe.
Anyway, so that was a very important step in our evolution. Now we're taking the next step and creating a series of videos. The first will be a 30-second video that will just go viral, just telling the story very concisely.
Good, good, good. Yeah, it's gonna take, it takes a village for everything. But it's really wonderful that you guys keep on holding the tent and doing all this efforts and times and everything. Thank you so much. I hope I can just get back into coming more often. So I'll be working at it. Thank you so much. I'm gonna leave for now, but just really nice to see you again.
Great to see you, Sister Ivy. Thanks so much for coming.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, thank you for stopping in tonight, and we look forward to spending more time with you.
Thank you, of course. Thank you all. Lots of love.
Lots of love, Sister Ivy. Have a great night, a great weekend, and Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Right.
The
Good
same.
night. God bless.
Bye.
Night. And James is still up. It's almost 6 in the morning there in Ireland. The thing is, these meetings are so much fun. It's like you don't want to go away. Well, speaking of taking a break, I need to take a break to say goodnight to Melissa and maybe play a game of backgammon with her. So let me go do that, and maybe I'll be back. Let me pause recording.